One winter, a poor man saved a wounded crane he found dying in the snow. Not long after, a beautiful woman came to his door and became his wife. She wove cloth more beautiful than anything in the land and asked only one thing of him, that he never watch her work. He should have kept that promise. This is the tale of the crane wife. Long ago, in the snow country, there lived a poor young man named Yohei, alone and gentle of heart. One bitter evening, walking home through the falling snow, he heard a cry of pain. There, in a hunter's snare, a great white crane thrashed and bled. Yohei knelt, and with careful hands, he set it free. For a moment, the bird simply looked at him, a long, knowing look. Then it spread its wings and vanished into the white sky. That same night, there came a knock at his door. On his step stood a young woman, beautiful and pale and lost in the storm. He took her in and gave her all the warmth his little home could offer. She never left. In time, they were married. They had almost nothing, but they had each other. And Yohei had never been so happy. Yet the winter was long and they were poor. So one day his wife said, "I will weave us something to sell, but you must promise me never look into the room while I work." And Yohei promised. For 3 days and 3 nights she stayed behind the closed door, and the soft sound of the loom never stopped. When at last she came out, pale and thin, she held a length of cloth so fine, so luminous, that it seemed woven from light itself. At the market, it sold for more gold than Yohei had ever seen. They were saved, but the gold returned, the money ran out, and so his wife went back behind the door to weave again, and each time she came out thinner and paler and weaker than before. Yohei began to worry. How could she make such a thing? Why did it cost her so much? And slowly, quietly, a question grew in him that he could not silence. One night, as the loom whispered behind the door, he could bear it no longer. He crept close and he looked. Inside, there was no woman at the loom. There was a crane, the same white crane he had freed, plucking the last feathers from its own bleeding body and weaving them, one by one, into the shining cloth. The crane turned and saw him standing there, and in that instant, everything was lost. "I am the crane whose life you saved," she said, her voice breaking. "I came to repay your kindness and to love you, but now that you have seen my true form, I cannot stay." She had given him everything, her feathers, her strength, herself, all of it woven into beauty for him. With the last of that strength, she became a crane once more. She rose into the cold morning sky, circled the little house but once, and was gone. They say Yohei waited by that tool for the rest of his days, and that every winter when the first snow falls, a single white crane still passes over the house and cries out just once for the love it could not give.